We should start the episode with the GameCube startup,
Oh, that'd be good.
or like the one that you get when you hold down the A button. Did you guys ever do that?
Yeah, where the
No. The different
oh,
sounds.
it's like higher pitched or something like that, or like it
It's
changes it.
There's one that sounds like it's like squeak toys almost. And then if you have 4 controllers plugged in and you hold down the A button on all 4 controllers, it sounds like sticks hitting, and then the last like the vroom, it's a guy going like, oh.
Huh. I think I'd done the squeaky one. I don't think I knew there was a different one for
Yeah, with all 4
controllers.
controllers plugged in.
That's funny. Welcome back, ladies and gents. This is an episode of There'll Be Duds. This is replacing your regularly scheduled content.
You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
wrong console.
I got a game here that says otherwise.
Yeah, so we do we just want to call them vault episodes? That's what we've been referring to them. I think it still works.
Yeah.
This is a vault episode. This is recorded sometime in the past and is being released sometime in the future after this recording, as they usually are. But there's a longer time difference, I guess. Yeah. We used to just do these for our pre-podcast episodes. We'd release them as little treats, but now we're out of those. We ran out, so we got to record new stuff to sit in the back for a while.
We might be dead by the time this comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have it in
I guess that's true for any episode, though.
Yeah, that's true. Anything that's you release into the internet. We'll have this in tucked away in a file in the folder, like to be opened upon my death, and it's just like,
yes.
Why did they save this? People will comb it for some hidden message, and it's just like, I like Zelda.
They're reading between the lines.
Yeah.
What were they really saying?
Yeah, so we're gonna now use our vault episodes to kind of go off the beaten path or go on the beaten path. I don't know.
Yeah.
Venture away from the main street of Dudstown. So we're talking about the GameCube today. We're both Nintendo boys.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's probably my favorite console. I don't know. Obviously we're going to be talking with a lot of bias here. I think we were that, everybody's favorite game. I've heard that somebody was like, "Oh, this is my favorite game, but it's probably because it came out when I was 12." And I was like, "Oh fuck, my favorite game came out when I was 12."
Yeah.
And
we're
spoilers.
definitely we are millennials, and this is one of those things that millennials is the GameCube. It's such a, in the context of when it was released alongside the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It's
huge. That was just a huge generation, I think.
Yes.
Those consoles,
but I feel like
big.
The GameCube was kind of like the little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Where
it was
PlayStation.
The one for kids.
Yeah. PlayStation had been using discs since the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox was we got Halo and violent video games,
mm-hmm.
and a controller with a shitload of buttons on it. And then the GameCube was what if Luigi was a ghost hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was it was one of the first consoles that I remember being a big deal.
Yeah.
When we got to get one.
Yeah. Well, I was young enough to I maybe have memory of like when we got the N64. It wasn't new when we got it, but
yeah,
this was the first one that like I remember going out getting it. I remember the game we got with it. It was James Bond, Agent Under Fire.
Oh.
We were both. We talked. Well, I was gonna say we talked about it last episode, but talked about it some episode in the past where we talked about GoldenEye. That playing GoldenEye just turned me into a James Bond head. So we were like, yeah, we're getting the new console. We're getting a James Bond game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something else to it though. Like the GameCube just, it feels like such a unique little special little thing, and like it's also the last Nintendo console that wasn't a full on like gimmick, you know.
That's true.
It's the last of their normal consoles where it's just a console, you plug it into the TV, and then you have controllers. And sure, there's peripherals, which we can get into later. There's all this, as Nintendo has done since the NES in some form or another with the Zapper.
The Zapper. There was like a I don't know where it is. I might still have it around here somewhere. But it was it was more like a traditional arcade thing where it had like a joystick and then like an A/B button. It was bizarre. It was weird.
Okay, kind of like an Atari pad or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The gimmick for the GameCube was that it had a little handlebar that you could carry it around to all the parties you went to.
Yeah.
The only time I ever really used it was when I took my GameCube to like Super Smash Bros. Tournaments.
Oh, okay.
And it was like I pulled it out of the bag, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this has got a handle. I can just
yeah.
But like all the commercials, it was like a dude walking down the street in like an urban environment with his GameCube, and he's walking by walls that are tagged by graffiti, and it's like, yeah, this guy's cool. He's got a GameCube.
It would be pretty sick if you had like a carabiner, you hook your GameCube up to that from your belt loop. You have like a portable battery charger. You plug the GameCube into that, and just as you're walking down the street, you have like a little mini TV display, and you're just playing playing Super Mario Sunshine as you're walking down the street.
Yeah. I feel like there was like a little TV peripheral.
Oh, there
like
was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's just like a little folded. I wanted that thing so fucking bad.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. Even though, like, yeah, that was so appealing because then I was like, I could take it on like vacations and we could just play it like in the car or something like that. Yeah.
I'm just imagining someone with a carabiner on their GameCube just like winging it up a building to like
use it
scaffold
as like a grappling hook.
to try to scale the building.
It'd probably work because
it's dense little guy.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was X Play. Maybe it was one of the G4 shows, and they were basically it was the console wars thing, and they were kind of like testing all these different all the different like games.
Yeah.
Like internet, I don't know, just all these different aspects of it. And then like the final test was like durability, and they like dropped all the consoles off a building, and the GameCube like was the only one that survived. And I think they did it like a couple times, and the GameCube held together. I was like, yes.
Thing rules. Do you remember GameCube ads?
Clean is better than dirty, and dirty's meaner than clean.
Not off the top of my head, but
because
are you talking about ads for the GameCube or ads for like games for the GameCube?
A little of both, but I think mostly the GameCube itself.
Okay.
I'm thinking from like all the issues of Nintendo Power that I had, but I feel like at this point in time in Nintendo's history, they were pretty raunchy with some of their ads. Like there's an ad for Super Mario Strikers, and it's 2 soccer balls hanging in a net, and one soccer ball is hanging a little bit lower than the other.
Okay.
And it says, "You're gonna need a pair."
Okay.
And then there's like
that'll be on one today.
There's one that's just like a dude wearing like a pimp coat with rings and bracelets and bling, and it's got Wario's head. And it just says hanging with the bling bling king. It's for Wario World, which I think is back there on the shelf. Spoiler, it's not in my top 10.
Oh.
But it was. I remember it being a fairly fun game.
I never played.
But it was
that
just
one.
like, I don't know. The GameCube had like a very sort of like minimalistic ad campaign where it'd just be like a single image and then like a very like, who are you? I remember those ads in the game, in like the Nintendo Power ones.
I was gonna dig out my Nintendo Powers for this. I forgot. Damn it.
Yeah, mine are back at my parents' place. But yeah, I was like, who are you? That was like,
yep. Yeah.
That was like their whole marketing campaign back in the day.
That made me think of it because there was a string of Nintendo Powers. It was like 10 issues in a row or something where it was like on the spine, you know, and then you like put it all together and it says the who are you.
Yeah. Man, I wish I hadn't got rid of a lot of those now. Damn it. I'm kind of regretting that. I just had a tote full of them. They were so heavy. Like moving them around sucked.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I just had a spot for them in my closet in my bedroom, and they just stayed there. I mean, I'd rather have my games than my Nintendo Power magazine, so you know,
fair.
You're doing pretty good there. Okay, we'll start with the launch titles, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we need to do any prehistory on, like, I don't know, or
I get not necessarily prehistory, but I briefly mentioned like this came out around the time of like the PS2 and the Xbox, and I think because it's like everyone thought of Mario and Luigi and Link as like kind of childish stuff in comparison to like the games of the PS2 and the Xbox. Mm-hmm. I feel like the GameCube was kind of dismissed at the time. They had like these weird little discs for that's the gimmicky aspect, was that every other console was very modern at the time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I watched like a Scott the Woz video about the GameCube because like I'll get sucked into his stuff about that.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was it was just like sort of a baffling reason why Nintendo went with like the mini discs instead of like normal discs. Like, it's not an HD console. There's like limited space on it. Like a few, you know, Resident Evil 4, Tales of Symphonia. There's a few other ones that are like 2-disc games.
Yep.
And it's I don't know why Nintendo made the decisions that it did, but you know, I guess, you know, to set the stage, I think the GameCube was kind of the black sheep at the time. That, you know, we have like
for sure.
Yeah. We have like, you know, great nostalgia for it. But I think in the grand scheme, I think the GameCube was kind of a flop.
Yeah, it was. No, yeah. It I don't know the exact numbers, but they like needed the Wii to be the success that it was for them to still be like Nintendo. Basically, if the Wii was GameCube 2, they might have become a Sega or something like that. I don't know.
Just yeah.
Which would be weird.
Literally, Wii Sports saved their ass.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And then you go to think like, oh well, I guess that's, you know, that's why they followed that trajectory. People are like, oh, I hate that they do the gimmicky stuff, but it's like that's what people bought. People didn't like it when they did, you know. I think the thing for me too with the GameCube is like there's the choices they made with their games, and we'll delve into into more specific games that we played later. They're just so interesting. They're like they took a lot of leaps of faith with this console. And a lot of the time I think worked out. Like we'll get into, like, for instance, turning a traditionally 2D side scroller like Metroid into a 3D first person shooter, creating what a lot of people consider as like the best game of all time. Taking Resident Evil and kind of not quite as different of a not quite as out there different as Metroid Prime, but Resident Evil 4, it was kind of a revamp of that series too. Wind Waker,
I mean,
cell shaded kid, you know, that was very weird for the time. People were like, but
Yeah.
this doesn't look like Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Yeah. When all these other consoles are going for high definition, like super realistic, real life stuff, Nintendo is like, what if Link was a cartoon? Like, this is literally like a cartoon style. And I mean, it had its detractors, because I feel like there was like an E3, or I think it was called Space World. There was,
I know what you're talking about. The demo with where it was way more like cool.
Yeah. And people were like, whoa, this is gonna be like, because like Ocarina of Time was a smash. That was like Nintendo's deal, was taking like 2D games like, Mario, Super Mario 64, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, then Metroid Prime. They kind of had a proven track record of taking those 2D games and like making them in 3D environments and being smash hits. But it was like, they were like, oh yeah, finally, next gen console, mature Zelda. And then it's like Link in his jammies.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
But history has proven that Wind Waker is...
It's been more kind to Wind Waker, for sure. Yeah.
And the Wii U HD remaster, honestly, they didn't have to do much to make it look better.
Yeah.
It's like upscaled a little bit, and it kind of has that glossy HD look. But otherwise, it's like the same game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, it's...
Right, yeah.
It's pretty.
It's held up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Launch titles, and we're just doing US because that's where we live. So
yes.
Okay. So US launch titles, November 18th, 2001. We've got, I'm gonna try not to skip any, but I gotta use my finger here because it's kind of hard. Okay. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, NFL Hits 2002, Madden NFL 2002, Disney's Tarzan Untamed, Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX 2, Crazy Taxi, Batman Vengeance, All-Star Baseball 2, Wave Race Blue Storm, and then we get to the real special ones, Super Monkey Ball and Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
So a lot of sports titles for the launch.
Yeah.
As is a trend with this console, along with a couple other trends. But I mean, within those sports ones, you have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, one of the new ones. That's cool. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is always fun. We had Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah. And I played the shit out of that game. It was fun. But it's basically it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater but bikes.
Yeah.
But I really think, unless you played any of the other ones, the ones to really highlight, and I think are kind of good examples of what I was talking about with the GameCube taking these sorts of leaps,
risks.
Risks with Luigi's Mansion and Super Monkey Ball, not launching with a new Mario title.
Yeah, launching with a Luigi title.
Launching with a Luigi title, a non-platforming,
weird.
He hunts ghosts.
It's a Ghostbusters ass haunted mansion game, which
I
mean
slaps.
It's great. I really, really like it.
Yeah.
The music in Luigi's Mansion might be like the most memorable part for me. Just like the way it changes depending on how much health you have.
Mm.
Like it becomes, or I guess Luigi's like singing along.
Yeah,
with it.
he
like,
hums. He does the.
Yeah, and like as you take more damage and your health is diminished, his voice is like. It's like a little shakier, he's a little spooky. He's spooked.
Yeah. And then Super Monkey Ball. Did you ever play that one? Do you have it?
I swear we used to have it.
Okay, but you
we have Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, but we don't. I think.
Oh, nice. I
think maybe my cousin had Super Monkey Ball.
Okay.
But I did play it a little bit, but I didn't, not a ton.
We got, I think we got our GameCube probably a year after this, because I want to say it was around fall of the following year.
Okay.
Maybe that we got ours. I think. But I still didn't get around to Luigi's Mansion or Super Monkey Ball until a little later. One of my friends got me Luigi's Mansion for my birthday, and then I think Sarah got the Super Monkey Ball 2-pack for Christmas or something like that. But
okay.
Yeah, Super Monkey Ball is also really great, and it's this strange little thing where you move a monkey and a ball around a course. Although technically you don't move the ball, you move the level. That's how it works. And I just like noting that it's like a bunch of sports games and then these two very like what would turn out to be like kind of a template for the GameCube kind of feel.
Yeah.
Games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like, I mean, aside from like Luigi's Mansion, Super Monkey Ball, you could almost look at that as like kind of a weak lineup.
Now I know people have a lot of love for the Rogue Squadron games. So Rogue Squadron 2, that was probably big on people's list. I didn't play them until the third one, which I'll pull out here. This is actually our demo disc. I think Travis has the actual one. This is our pre-order demo disc, but Rebel Strike. And yeah, I will say this game is really good. It is only for it's not in my top 10, but it's a really fun game. Really good multiplayer. A lot of shit too. You know, something I noticed while like going back on these two, it's like, wow, all these like completed games with all this extra content. You know, you got like, or like I think we were talking about this, or maybe I was talking with Travis about like pre-order bonuses for at the time of this recording. Tears of the Kingdom is still a little ways out, and the only pre-order bonus I've seen is GameStop. Have you seen that? It's like a plaque of wood. It's got like a thing engraved into it. Oh. And I mean, maybe I'll get it just because there's no other pre-order bonuses incentivizing me. But
yeah.
But like this, we pre-ordered Rebel Strike and we got this, and it was like a free demo, and also it came with the arcade game, like the original Atari Star Wars arcade game.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And I was like obsessed with arcade games at this period of time. I wanted to go to
like
an arcade.
I
wanted to I wanted to go to one. I wanted to go to a thing where there's all these different arcade cabinets with my bag of quarters and plunk them in and
just go.
Yeah, and
yeah.
The only exposure you had is fucking Chuck E. Cheese. That's like all we have around here. That's like that only half counts.
Yeah.
So any sort of like arcade game experience you could have, or like retro games, you know, Super Nintendo or NES, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Now I'm like, NES is really bad. It's like 99% of those games, if not more, are just garbage. SNES, not the case. SNES is a lot better. But maybe it's just because like now with Steam, or just being able to access or just it being so much easier for people to make games and just put them on Steam or put them on something else.
Yeah.
And so many of them go with that retro feel. It just it kind of takes the magic away from some older games, where back here it was like you had to own one of those systems, or you had to, you know, get a special bonus thingy or something to play them. And yeah, I think that kind of added some more magic to it, where like maybe the other systems didn't have that history. PlayStation didn't have, I mean, it had one system before it, and the Xbox was the first one, so they don't have that that retro, you know, pull or whatever.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, Nintendo was associated with like a pretty sizable cast of characters that you like instantly recognized as Nintendo characters. As like PlayStation had 3.
Crash, Spyro,
Gex.
Gex. Gex was not PlayStation exclusive. He was third party.
No, I know.
Would you say Gex that's the third part in the PlayStation trifecta?
Okay, well, what's your third one? Who's the other one?
I didn't say that there was 3.
Oh,
I was. You said there was 3.
I guess I'm thinking characters that got multiple games.
Oh, there was.
Like,
the Gex did do the sequel. That's right.
There was that first. No, I showed you that other Gex one.
Yeah,
It wasn't the Deep Agent one or whatever. The undercover gecko.
Yeah,
there was like that.
I remember
the old like PS1 when they were like this tall.
Oh, okay.
Like there was like a first Gex game, and then there was the Secret Agent one, and then there was Gex 3 that had like the booby lady on the cover. I forget what her name was. Gex 3. I feel like it was someone famous. Deep Cover Gecko. That's the third one.
Deep Cover.
Who is this woman on the cover?
I thought you were gonna say like Solid Snake or something like that.
Oh.
Like if I had to pick a third, I don't know. I feel like there's something else. Well, okay, this is from like a pre-existing thing too, but actually like Cloud Strife would be like the third.
Yeah.
You know? He's from a single game, but that was like the biggest PlayStation 1 game.
That's true. Oh, it was an actual Playboy Playmate on the cover.
Oh, really?
Marlise Andrada. Yeah, she was like on the cover of Deep Cover Gecko.
I'm sure it was it was probably a few more years before I started paying attention to that stuff, so.
But yeah, I mean, you know, PlayStation had Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, who would later go on to be in GameCube titles, but I would argue that the original trilogies of Gex, I got Gex on the mind. The original trilogies of Crash and Spyro, the best ones I think were the PS1 versions.
Yeah.
And then but you know, Xbox had what, Master Chief?
Yeah.
Or
Xbox
Call of Duty, man.
I guess that was, I don't know how the Xbox, because I only played Call of Duty on PC originally.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played. No, I did play Modern Warfare when those ones came out, but Xbox had Master Chief, and then boy howdy did they try pushing more, but Master Chief is the only one that stuck, I think. But I remember them really trying to push, like, they were doing the DC EU thing of like they're trying to catch up to the Avengers. The Avengers of like Mario, Link, Samus, Pikachu. But they were skipping the steps. They were doing what, like with Justice League. They're like, yeah, we made a Superman movie and a Wonder Woman. Okay, now we can make Justice League. We're good. We don't need to do anything else. So they're like, we got Halo and we got Brute Force. I think that was like one of their launch titles. But yeah, just Master Chief. And hey, I will say, we had an Xbox too. I am a big Halo stan too. I'm not throwing any shade on Halo itself. I mean, Bungie Halo, we'll say that. Not necessarily 343 as people who play Halo. No, I shouldn't have to specify.
Yeah.
But yeah, no shade on that. Fucking OG Halo, that's also some great lot of great memories tied to that franchise too. But we're talking about Nintendo.
Yes.
And actually, did you have a PS2 or Xbox or anything?
Nope.
No. Because you had
like.
Go ahead.
No, my basically it was like I think we had an NES, or my grandma had an NES, so I played a lot of that early. And then I got a Sega Genesis. I was a Sonic kid.
Yeah.
Like Sonic 2, Sonic Spinball, Sonic 3D Blast.
Nice.
My permanently borrowed copy of Sonic and Knuckles.
We never got that one. We rented that a few times, but yeah.
And then I got a PlayStation 1. Croc. Maybe Croc could be the other mascot of Sony, even though Croc only got 2 games and then faded into obscurity. But, you know, Croc, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, those. We got an N64. We have one of the Hey You Pikachu N64s.
Oh, nice. So you got that later. You had the PlayStation first.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then it was like summer 2001 or 2002. I don't remember, but it was like we would go to my grandma's house while my parents worked when school was out. And I remember it so vividly. My grandma, she wrote down different clues and she put them on like little sheets of paper and she hid them all around her house. So we had to find one, and it would be like some sort of rhyme or something like that. And it would tell us in the next room. So we'd go to that room, we'd look around, we'd try to find the clue. And then the last clue was something like a trip to Wally World, which is Walmart.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we were like, oh, okay. And she drove us to Walmart, and she bought a GameCube, and I believe Super Smash Bros. Melee was.
Oh, that was your
But
first.
also, no, okay. So you're talking about pre-order bonus shit.
Yeah.
So the GameCube that she bought us, this was right around the time Wind Waker came out.
Okay, so that would have been 2002. That might have been 2003 in the U.S.
Maybe it was. Maybe we were late. Maybe we were late to the GameCube game. But I remember because I knew Evan and Isaac at the time, and I remember that like they pre-ordered Wind Waker, and if you pre-ordered Wind Waker, you got the Ocarina of Time and Master Quest.
I think Travis has that one.
Edition.
But yeah.
And I remember they ran out. So like Isaac just got the player's guide. But then my grandma took us to Walmart and we bought the GameCube, and it came with the Wind Waker with Ocarina of Time and Master Quest. And I kind of felt bad, but also I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, we got that too. And I was that's another example of what I was talking about. Or
it was like bundled with it.
I have this too, which is more coveted.
Oh yeah.
Collector's edition. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna bring that up as an example of like that exclusive, like this had the original Legend of Zelda. What? Like
1 and 2, it had 4 games on it.
Yeah.
This is like how I played Majora's Mask. I never had a copy for N64.
Really?
This is how I played it.
We had our own copy of Majora's Mask, but I don't think we ever owned Ocarina of Time. So this or the Master Quest disc. Actually, the Master Quest disc was what we had because this isn't mine. This one too. I remember trying Master Quest and hating it, but I have since replayed Master Quest and I do appreciate it more. But I think as a kid, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, have you ever played Master Quest?
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Like cows lodged into the side of Jabu Jabu's belly.
Yeah.
And yeah, but like as a kid, I was just like, oh, they're just like doing random shit to make it different. But then I like playing it as like when I was older, I was like, oh no, it's it's changing the dungeons. It makes you have to like solve them differently, and it makes it interesting or fresh in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like a perfect example of that sort of like that appeal, that pull. Like again, the collector's edition especially, I know was like a very like sought after item. I don't know if it still holds this, but I know this fetched a pretty penny back in the day.
I'm in real time. We're gonna look at the Zelda collector's edition.
Maybe promotional disc
on Amazon. $124.99.
Okay.
Let's see if it's on eBay.
Yeah, I think that'd be.
I bet eBay. You could probably 210. Some of them are like 36. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Some of them aren't too bad. Disc only 31. Oh, there's the graded. It looks like it's sealed.
Oh. Nice.
$459.95. Oh damn! The Zelda Twilight Princess HD with Amiibo Wii U. That's $225. I've got that. Yeah. So it's like some of them. It really depends, because also if like you still have all the original like inserts, and like the guides and all that kind of shit. I feel like that adds to it.
That's a good segue into guides. Something else that I really miss from these older generations, like these like fucking books that you had, and just like how much care it seems there like was put into these things. But now it's just like, yeah, we can just like slip a piece of paper in there with like a code, and it's like, we know you're just gonna like look up online or something how to do this shit, or
yeah, it's definitely it's a product of like a bygone era of, you know, explaining how the moves go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
pulling out
how to do things. Oh yeah.
The Smash Bros one with like, look, everybody has, well, for all the starting characters, I gotta remember this is a audio medium too, so I can't just like point out stuff. Yeah, the Super Smash Bros Melee one, it's like all the starting characters have like little descriptions, and then all of their attacks are moved, and like there's a description for each of them and stuff, and it's just, I don't know. There's something to that like it's that there's, you have like physical, like real, like stuff to show for like the care and effort that's put into this stuff that just isn't a thing anymore. Or my favorite thing is in the very back, because I would do these all the time with my friends. These like the customized special ways to play.
Oh yeah.
We would do laser tag, which
okay.
I think that one's not in here, so that was one that we made up, I guess, or no, maybe it is, but it's like you set the handicap to like the highest or lowest or whatever, so, and then you set everybody's, you can like set everybody's damage to like 999, and then you just use Fox and you just use his blaster.
Oh, that's pretty good. We would do like, I mean, I remember for like birthday parties, we would do like 99-man Smash, and it would just go on for hours.
With the like polygons or whatever?
No. Like we'd do a stock battle and set it at 99 stocks per
hell
person.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd do that and do just Pokeball. That was one of my favorites to do, is like high stock, you do computers at like level 4, like you didn't want them too high, because if you set the computers too high, you're not getting any items ever.
Yeah.
So we set them like somewhere in the middle. Yeah, 99 stock, just Pokeballs at like the highest like item.
So it's just insanity.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a fun little product of a bygone era, but I'm pretty sure this is how to unlock every character in Melee as printed off from like Game Facts. But I like how it specifies Falco Lombardi. He got the full name treatment. Full name.
Nice.
But I remember Mewtwo was the last one. He was so hard.
Because that's, let's see if I can remember. Do you have it written down?
I do, yeah.
Is it 20 hours of play or 300 matches?
700 versus matches.
700, holy shit.
Because I feel like I remember at one point in time setting like one stock matches, and we would just like jump off to try and like kind of tilt the scales to like hit that 700 mark.
Yeah, Mewtwo was one of my, not one of my mains, but I did really like playing as Mewtwo.
There was also like, you know, early internet. There were like rumors, like how to unlock Toad and Sonic in Super Smash, and you could just send people on wild goose chases. You know, do this challenge in under 2 minutes, and then play this challenge as Dr. Mario, and you know, just horseshit. And like you'd never unlock Sonic or Toad, but it was like, well, someone on GameFAQs said that this is how you do it.
Yeah. And
why would someone lie on the internet?
Yeah.
I'm 13 and this is all true.
Yeah. And the game itself would almost like encourage that shit, because the way that you unlock Luigi is you finish the first stage in adventure mode, and the like second has to be on like the 1.
Or
it
2,
has to have like a 1 or 2. Yeah, it might be 2.
Yeah, because Luigi's number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like like, you know, that's akin to you saying like, "Oh yeah, you can get Luigi if you do this." And people be like, you're bullshitting me. That's stupid.
L is real 2046 or whatever that rumor was.
Yeah. Was that an Ocarina of Time thing?
No, that was Mario 64. If you go out to the fountain where Boo's mansion is, there's a little fountain that kind of has text that's not like really legible.
Super legible. Yeah.
But people are like, this is how you unlock Luigi in Super Mario 64.
That's right. Yeah, man. That is like...
There's no mystery anymore.
Yeah, right? Like, you know, on the one hand, I'm old. I don't have a lot of time for this shit anymore. So it is nice to just be able to, like, Google stuff and just get, you know, go to Reddit or just... You can very quickly find the answers to, like, I don't know, whatever. But, yeah, there is some magic lost in that, like, both that side of people, like, messing with other people and lying about secrets, but then also like really discovering things that are really in the games together, and like like, not that I did partake somewhat, like I was, we talked about that too, like me, like little like 10-year-old me, like on Game Facts, but most of it was me just like reading, lurking, I guess. But still just really neat, just like discovering games in that sort of communal way, between that or like friends at school too. I guess that's a better example for me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm stuck at this one part, what am I supposed to do? And somebody like, oh yeah, you got to do this.
Yeah, like going to school, talking strat with your friends in elementary school.
Yeah. Or like, you know, in Animal Crossing you could play NES games, but like you had to do like feng shui in order to make them, you know, appear. Like if you put your green stuff on like the west wall, you'll get more like hidden treasures, and certain NES games are only available that way. There were some that you could only get via Game Shark.
Oh.
And I do have those.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Mario Bros. And Zelda.
Okay.
Like they're full games. They're fully in there.
I know. That's insane. I had a few. I had Clue Clue Land, Balloon Fight, Wario's Woods. That was another one I remember having.
Yeah.
That's another, like, insane. Just that, like, just full games within Animal Crossing, just like as a bonus thing.
I think Mike Tyson's Punch Out was one that was like really okay. Maybe this can be another segue. Nintendo Power would have special codes for Animal. There would be like the Crossing Guardian.
Oh yeah,
and there were like codes that you could give to Tom Nook, and he would be like, "Oh, thank you for entering this code. Here's your special prize." And you could get like specific Nintendo themed things from like Tom Nook.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Fuck me, I wish I pulled out my Nintendo Power.
Was the GameCube the first console to have a modem adapter? I don't think that's true.
A modem adapter? Do you think the PlayStation had it first? Or what,
PS1, I don't think so.
Well, what would have it then?
Well, I mean, like maybe PS2 or Xbox, but I know that you could do like local LAN stuff with the Xbox. But I don't know if the PS2 had any way to connect to the internet.
I thought you were saying specifically. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, which one was? If we want to get technical, which console was released first?
Oh, I don't know.
First generation, at least. Yeah,
because I know, friend of the show, Evan, and his brother Isaac had
PSO.
They had Phantasy Star Online, which, as far as I can remember, and I don't count like PC gaming. Like it's on the internet, duh. But home console, because now that's just something that we assume is baked into it. Yeah, I can connect this to Wi-Fi. I can watch streaming stuff. I can play online games with other people. Duh, that's just part of it now. But I mean, back then, like we were saying with the GameCube, like Nintendo's last console that you plugged into a TV and plugged controllers into, it didn't really have a lot of online functionality, save for like a few games. And I think I think PSO and maybe one other game were like the ones that used that, because I remember Isaac had the long like GameCube controller with the full keyboard in the center of it.
Yeah.
So he would play PSO and like you could type chat messages to like your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if like the PS2 or the Xbox was capable of doing that. It'd be very funny if Nintendo was like actually the first one to do it.
Wait, are you saying? I know for a fact that those both had internet capabilities.
PS2 and the Xbox?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
I thought you were saying specifically like the adapter as like an attachment thing or something like that.
Oh,
no,
maybe.
Hands down for sure. Like Halo, yeah, and
okay.
PlayStation, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no. So GameCube was definitely behind in that regard too. Yeah, it might have been Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles was the other one that was online. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I played some PSO, but no fucking way was I getting internet out of my place.
Yeah, right.
That was back when we still had dial-up for years after that, after PSO came out. Yeah, man, I wanted like a Wavebird too. We just had the basic ass.
Hold on.
Just showing me up on all this shit he still got. My stuff's all broken up. I come from a broken home, so I don't know why he's rubbing this in my face. I just have like 10 games from our library of like 30 plus. Meanwhile, he's still got all of his shit. Multiple consoles. I don't even have a fucking GameCube anymore. Okay.
Wavebird's over there somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know where it's at. I had the platinum one.
Platinum
Wavebird.
Oh, okay.
But very embarrassingly, I busted it. I was mad. At Luigi's Mansion.
At Luigi's Mansion?
So in Luigi's Mansion, you can get different colored frames for ghosts, depending on if you can get them done in one take and you don't take damage.
Oh.
And Boolossus can suck a dick. Because like I would try to get Boolossus in one go, and I would get hit. And I did it over and over and over and over. And I remember I got so frustrated I just threw the controller. And I'm pretty sure the joystick, like, it hit something, and it was like loose. And then it was irreparable. And then I have like the standard Wavebird now. But yeah, the platinum one is dead.
We always I like the platinum. We had the platinum.
Yeah, platinum's cool.
Platinum. Well, we had a black one, and then we had a platinum one.
The orange one was cool.
Eh?
I remember there was like a Metroid Prime specific one.
Was there with like? Did it have like the Metroid logo on it or something like that? Or
maybe the little circle in the middle that says GameCube. I wonder if it was like the morph ball. I don't know if maybe there was one that was bundled, but maybe it wasn't themed.
Okay.
GameCube.
Okay, I found there is an online gaming section on the GameCube wiki. So there's the only internet games released in Western territories. So Phantasy Star 1, 2, and 3. I swear there was one more. Because it was like, maybe it wasn't available in the US. But I swear it was like PSO and one more game. But
yeah.
Yeah, that's all that's showing here. No, I'm trying to think what they also had, if we want to go with off on that tangent of Peripherals, another one that they had. I mean, I was a sucker for it, and I had like anything Nintendo at this time, and plus I had Nintendo Power, so it was like propaganda for them too. But one that I really wanted that they had was it was like an attachment on the bottom, and I think it let you play Game Boy games.
Mm-hmm. Game Boy Player.
Game Boy Player, yeah, that's what it's
yeah,
called.
I have that. I've got one.
Even though like I had a fucking Game Boy, I had no need for it, right?
But you could play it on the TV.
Yeah.
Or if you had a Game Boy Advance that didn't have a like a backlight.
Yeah, but I had the SP, so it was good.
Well, yeah. The SP hurts my hands.
I pulled mine out of the
because it's so small.
Yeah, it is. It's really tiny. Yeah. Even the 3DS, I pulled mine out. It's back there charging. I don't think it's working, but I wanted to just give it a try, I guess. But I was like, yeah, even the 3DS is tiny.
Yeah. I think the Game Boy Advance was like the perfect thickness, distance apart from your hand with the shoulder buttons. I know there's like a pretty big modding community of people that like you can buy shit for like your Game Boy Advance to like give it a backlight.
Oh, yeah.
Change the shell. I'd be interested in doing that just to like play those old games on the Game Boy Advance again. I had the Arctic light blue one.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I had too.
Yeah. There's also
Glacier Freeze Gatorade Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. I also had it was like a GameCube controller to Game Boy Advance thing.
It's like the port plug-in thing, and then it attaches to a Game Boy. Yes, I did have a couple of those, primarily for this game. I think I mostly got it for Four Swords Adventures.
Okay.
Because if you're playing single player, you can use a controller, but if you play multiplayer, everybody has to have a Game Boy Advance and one of those. So I think I ended up getting two, and then I had a friend who had one too.
Okay.
So I ended up playing through I like invited him over, and we did it. I don't remember if he came over for like the night or like a weekend, but we did the entire campaign together. And to this day, one of my favorite like gaming experiences ever. I don't know, it was so cool that I really like that game a lot, but like experiencing it like that for the first time with a friend in that like the intended way, it is kind of, a lot of people don't like it because of how gimmicky it is. It's very I mean, especially now, the only way to play this game multiplayer is you have to have a GameCube, you have to have Game Boy Advances, you have to have these connector cables. It's very hard to play nowadays, and that is annoying. But I will say the effect when you do is awesome.
It was cool.
It's really cool.
Because I think I played a little bit of it, but isn't it like if you go like underground, you play on the Game Boy?
Yeah, and it goes to
that's like conceptually that's very cool. That's a very neat idea.
And like playing multiplayer on like a shared screen, because you're on a team, you're playing. It's the Four Swords, so you're playing if you're playing 2-player, you each play 2 of the split up links. Man, if I could have played this 4-player, oh my god, that would have been like exponentially cooler.
Did you borrow my thing for that
connector? No.
Yeah.
No, because I would have played, like, I played this like when it came out. This was when I was homeschooled, because the kid that I played it with was one of my homeschool buddies.
Okay.
But this, and then I did use it for Animal Crossing, because you could use it to go to that's how you went to the island.
Yeah.
in OG Animal Crossing. But yeah.
And then the Tingle tuner in Wind Waker.
Oh, that's right. I did use it for that. Yep, that's right.
You could just drop bombs.
Yeah.
Like if you were in a dungeon, the Tingle tuner would just like do shit. Yeah.
I forgot about the Tingle tuner. That was that was a lot of fun.
Very quickly were the Donkey Konga bongos.
Oh shit. Yeah, I never played those games, but man,
my grandma got that for us. And yeah, it was left, right, and then there was like a clap. Like it had like a little audio sensor. You know. But
man,
What was funny is I was
That's
watching that like every GameCube game like listed, and like when I got to Donkey Konga, I listened to it and the music was like "Happy Birthday," or like
oh yeah, that's right.
so it's like,
yeah. Like that's the one you're playing for this game that is like a music game.
yeah, it's like, well, what can we get for free? What's in the public domain?
Yeah.
You know, but still, it was kind of cool. I've definitely seen people do shit like playing Super Smash Bros, but like they'll use the Donkey Konga controller.
I've seen that shit too.
You know,
yeah.
really funny,
I
like
love
gimmicky
that
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and that's why it's to varying degrees. It's not a black and white situation for sure, but it's honestly like Four Swords Adventures is the reason why I'm a lot less harsh on Nintendo when they go full in on their gimmicky shit, because I'm like, man, but if you do it right, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
In spite of what I just said about how annoying it is to if you wanted to play it nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we did, my cousin, my brother, and we did the Four Swords that came with Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance, which I think is, it's not a full, I mean, it's like 4 levels, I think.
Yeah, right. It's
but,
it's
you know,
weird too. I played it on the DS.
Oh yeah, that's right. They put that out for the DS.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we had to sit there close together with all our Game Boys because we had to like daisy chain our connector cables. You had to like make sure it was all, because like that's how you traded Pokemon too, right? You had to have like you know, physical cables in order to connect to like their other Game Boy.
Yeah, that's a whole other like can of worms, because like I remember, we're getting off the GameCube path, but Game Boy connector cables, dude. This nowadays, like, I don't know, it's still it's not like cool because we're talking about like Game Boys and Pokemon, but like we literally, it felt like we were doing like drug smuggling or some shit like that, because one, I went to a Christian school. Pokemon was
yeah
Pokemon
good
was,
luck.
Yeah, sent to fucking jail, meaning suspension or whatever. So and there was this kid who was he was probably in middle school at this time. I was in like first grade. I don't know, whenever the first Pokemon came out. I might have been in kindergarten. And we would he was like the only one of us who had a Game Boy connector cable, and I remember we would like go out like after school or like during some of like the volleyball games, because our mom was the coach. We'd like go out to like his car and like
you got the stuff.
you know, pull out our Game Boys, and that's how we'd like battle. And we would like we also did like this tournament thingy, and like whoever, this kid, speaking of people lying to you, this kid would do it to your face. He was like, oh, I have a copy of Pokemon Green. That was a big rumor.
Yeah.
Because in Japan it was, you know, they had green or whatever. And then like we did like a tournament, and whoever won, he would give his copy of Pokemon Green to. And I won. Right. I won, and it was a fucking floppy disk. So I think if there was anything on it, he just got like some like raw files of Pokemon, which I probably wasn't even that. But
it was,
yeah.
It was Pokemon Amsterdam.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to bring it back to the GameCube, I got, my uncle works at Nintendo in middle school.
Oh.
Because I really wanted Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. And this kid was like, "Oh yeah, I can like burn you a copy of it." And he was like, "Yeah, I have a relative that works in Nintendo, and he can get me a copy, and like I'll burn you one." And like I remember like almost every day, like, did you talk? I want Animal Crossing. Did you talk to him? Like, can I get in? Yeah, is okay. And then it like, you know, that's like a thing now. My uncle works at Nintendo. That's what kids used to say, and I was like, damn, I got hit by that.
It's like, did your uncle talk to Shigeru yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Chris Chan probably got the hardest "my uncle works at Nintendo" of all time. like thinking Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to turn Sonichu into a GameCube game.
The game's library as a whole, I guess, and like the ratio of like, you know, what there was to offer. So I may have miscounted, so don't quote me, but it's about in the US well, in Japan is like 651, or total, that's the total number, I guess, not just Japan. That's the total number is 651, but in America I think I counted like 548. We'll call it just 550.
Okay.
Did you count? I'm interested. Did you count how many you? Because I did it on Google spreadsheet, so it was really easy for me to figure it out. But like, how many you played? Like, I listed every single game that I had played off of that list.
Oh. No. I think every single game that I've played, I pretty much have.
Oh, okay. Really?
I don't. Yeah, I didn't really. Unless you want to count like, you know, games that my cousin had. But
I counted anything that like I didn't count because I know I had played it, but like NCAA football 2003, because that was one of Travis's games. I know I played it a couple times, but like, I didn't count that. But anything that I played significantly, you know, whether I owned it or not, I counted it.
Yeah, I think there isn't really anything outside of like what I currently have here.
That's insane. That's nuts to me.
I have like 20 games here.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we all lived in the same house, we probably had like maybe 30, I want to say, around there. But I counted 77 that I had
Holy
played.
Shit.
But that's with like trading with friends or like borrowing from friends. We rented a lot from the video store because like we would go to the video store like every week or every other week, and we'd always get a game or two. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of that.
I was not into the, you know what I said about the Sonic and Knuckles borrowing indefinitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when it came to lending out, I was not someone who was gonna lend any of that shit out, because I knew from firsthand experience what kids would do. And it's like, nope, this is mine.
I will say I think I did a lot more borrowing than lending out, but that's just because I don't think people really asked. But,
yeah.
Yeah, so of those I own, we owned like less than half of what I had played total, I guess. And so I mapped it out, so I played 14% of the
nice
GameCube library, which is like, I guess that's more than I was thinking. And then I also listed the ones that I hadn't played, but that like I would still want to.
Yeah.
And that list was a lot shorter than I thought, so that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put like maybe the Resident Evil remakes and like the Metal Gear Solid remake.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't count those because I have played those. Like,
yeah,
I don't think I played the GameCube versions, but I played all the Resident Evils.
Right.
But I did. I guess my shout out, since you mentioned one already, Billy Hatcher was one that I never played. But how is it? That was when I remember thinking looked really stupid, but then I think I remember it got like a lot of good reviews.
Honestly, I haven't played it since like all those years ago, and I don't think I played it much beyond like the first couple levels. But I mean, I remember it being okay. I think it was like you literally were just pushing a giant egg around the stage.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember what the objective was, to be completely honest. That was one that like I don't know if that was either Jake or Mindy got, or it was like one that my grandma bought, because she would just buy games that she would think that would be interesting for us to play. Mm-hmm. So like there's like random sports games, and then just like, you know, like I mentioned, Barnyard or like Madagascar. A lot of like early 2000s animated movie tie-in games. this is like an adaptation of a movie game.
Okay.
Which usually I'm like, I don't care about like tie-ins, but the Lord of the Rings Return of the King.
Nice.
I played the like I'm pretty sure like James Dean and I like 100% of this game.
Nice.
Unlocked everything you could, did all the levels, like played the absolute bejesus out of this game.
I wasn't in my special ones, but I did highlight just random ones that I did like, especially in case we got around to talking about them. Mine was Two Towers.
Okay.
But played very similarly. Also had a lot of like you could watch like
I think
videos.
There's like bonus stuff.
Yeah. I love that era of Lord of the Rings games.
Yeah,
great stuff.
I specifically remember like the section where it's like I think you're going to like ask the ghosts to like.
I wondered if that's
like,
what you're gonna say. Yeah,
there's that level
sticks out to me a lot.
And then there's one level that's really hard. I'm bad at like remembering like the names of locations and battles. But the one battle with like the Oliphants, when it's just like there's waves of orcs.
Oh,
and there's like
Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Yes, that section was really hard because like there'd be orcs putting up ladders and you have to run and kick them off. And then I think you could like shoot arrows way far off in the distance to try to like set the things on fire before they got to you. It was pretty tough, but it was like tough but fair. It was like
right, yeah.
You know, it was difficult, but it was fun.
Difficulty. That reminds me of a one from that I played in GameCube. It's very different, but also kind of have the same vibe. Called Spartan Total Warrior. It's like a spin-off of the Total War series, but it's more like a hack and slash, like those Lord of the Rings games. And I'd say that along with like this book that my aunt got me. That's probably what like got me into like old like Greek, Roman stuff. Yeah, I love that game. And it was also kind of like I don't know if it was before or after God of War, but it also kind of felt like if it was after, it was probably definitely going for that God of War vibe. Because it also included like mythical characters too. It wasn't just like, you know, you're fighting other people. Okay, I had a couple. One is a movie character. The other two are just video games, but I mentioned Time Splitters before. I put both 2 and Future Perfect. If I was putting one on there, it'd be Future Perfect. That is one that I have right here. Future Perfect, right there.
Nice.
Amazing games, amazing shooters. This is maybe my favorite. If we're going like first-person shooter, like campaign-wise, this might be my favorite. Like period. Absolutely love this game. I love the absolutely wild shit that happens in this game. The story is crazy. It's a time traveling game, and it utilizes that concept to the fullest, I think.
Okay.
And then the multiplayer is also awesome. You have like a shitload of characters, guns, levels that you can play on. Super super fun series. And then Ultimate Spider-Man. That's the movie character. Man, that game rules. That's one that these are all ones that like I want to play them right now. Ultimate Spider-Man, it's they made it's like not quite cell shaded, but they did like super thick lines. It looks more like a comic book, you know. So I think it holds up pretty well.
Oh yeah.
And you got to play as Venom in it too, and I just really dig the story for it. Just lots of fun. It's one of the first ones that like, it was that and Spider-Man 2 where it's like open world was like a new concept. You had all of Manhattan plus some of Queens. I think you could swing around and do swinging around the city of Spider-Man is still super super fun even in those old GameCube titles.
Yeah, like I feel like even modern Spider-Man games that have come out, they don't stray too far from that concept it's like, hey, swinging around a Spider-Man is cool. So
I think Spider-Man 2, the game, that's your Super Mario 64 or your Ocarina of Time. It's like that's the template for all future ones, pretty much. Yeah. And then the last one, probably lesser known. I might have mentioned it to you before. It's called Vex. Have I told you about Vex before? With 2 X's.
XX. Why do I know about this?
It's definitely kind of going for that like early 2000s like cool edge, but also up there for like a favorite of its genre. One of my favorite platformers, just period.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I liked about it so much, but I played it as a kid. I got like halfway through it. I eventually got it for, I think I have it on the Xbox now. I think that's the copy that I have.
Yeah.
And I eventually beat it like not super long ago. That game gets brutally difficult in the end. Especially the very last boss, like just insanely difficult. And if you're trying to get all of the hearts, which are the stars for Mario pretty much.
Sure, yeah.
They're called Wraith Hearts in that. If you're trying to 100% it, which I do because I can't fucking help myself, fuck, there's some really fucking difficult ones. Really like it's, would I put it, I think I'd put it above like Banjo-Kazooie as far as like because they have the standard thing that a lot of platformers have of like, you know, get 100 coins and you get a thing, you get a star, or you get a jiggy, you know, if you collect all the notes or whatever. In this, you I think it's 100 things in each level. It's 100 little, like, I forget what they're called, little balls.
Some sort of what do they call those games?
Platformers?
Like, no, there's like some sort of like collectible hunting. There's like a certain
set collect. No, I'm thinking of board games.
There's like a slang term that they use for them, but it's like collect coins, jiggies, stars, whatever sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's one on like the last main level in particular. That's the one that's the rival to Click Clock Woods for. Oh man, because it also is kind of like, it's not like the entire level changes, but there are multiple different areas to the level, and just some real hard fucking platforming.
Yeah,
just super hard.
Vex sort of looks like it. I feel like after like the popularity of characters like Spyro and Crash, I feel like there was a sort of arms race for the next kind of cartoony, fluffy,
but
animal
cool
humanoid guy. Like I feel like there's like Sly Cooper's like another one.
Oh yeah, that's one.
It's like he's a raccoon.
Jack and
Daxter. I feel like that is Naughty Dog, isn't it? I don't know who developed that.
I think it might be.
But yeah, there's like some sort of arms race for the next thing, and Vex kind of looks like it was like designed in that vein where like he looks cool, but he's also, you know.
It's definitely going for that kind of edgy for the time, and yeah, I don't think the game itself plays up that too much. Like he doesn't talk, at least, which is probably a godsend. He'd probably be way more annoying if he didn't. But yeah, it's got really creative, fun worlds. The combat's pretty cool. I remember the graphics being great for the time. Like the skyboxes and stuff in that game were really, really tight. Yeah, you can sink a lot of time into it. I have, because I've played through it a few times. I've only beaten it once, but I've gotten to the end a few times, and super, super cool. Just forgotten gem in my eyes.
Before the virtual console was a thing, which like I feel like we kind of take it for granted now, where it's just like old Nintendo games are just available. They did some special releases, anniversary collections that I just want to shout out. The Mega Man anniversary collection was cool. It was like Mega Man's 1 through
9?
8?
8?
Yes. And then there were some unlockable like Mega Man arcade fighter style games that were like, I think they were only available in arcades.
Okay.
And then never before released in the US. So those are cool. I've always been a big Mega Man fan, even though they're hard as shit, and I've only beaten like 2 of them. I love Mega Man, so it's cool to have those. And then the other ones are these guys.
I think you got one. Yeah. Yep. Sonic Mega Collection is one that I was going to shout out.
Because, the Sonic Gems collection is cool because it has like Sonic CD. So it has like some
I never had
Dreamcast
the
games
Gems
or like,
one.
and it's like I never really played the Sonic CD games, but I watched that video, the Sonic Boom video, a lot because it's such a cool animated
I watched that
intro.
too.
Oh,
Same.
the song was great.
Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Gonna find what's on the other side of the rainbow.
Like how much content was packed onto games back then, where now it's like that's all DLC or other shit now. Sonic Mega Collection is one that I was thinking of in particular because you had like a songs library. The presentation of the whole thing was really neat. There was just so much bonus content. And then I'll let you finish yours, but I have another one that is also like super like just so much extra shit.
The only other one I was going to shout out was one that we both already talked about, the Zelda promotional disc that has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Just it's so cool to be able to play. Although I do have some beef. The Majora's Mask copy was a little bit buggy, and it was prone to freezing and having some like audio distortion glitches. I beat the final temple, the stone tower, got all of the stray fairies, was going to return the fairies to the Great Fairy Fountain to get the sword.
Great Fairy Sword. Yep. Great Fairy Sword.
And the game froze.
Oof.
And I've beaten Majora's Mask, but like that was just a moment where I was like, I don't want to play this anymore.
You want to do that again? Yeah. Yeah, that's like
that
far
temple
above the worst temple to get the fairies to.
Yeah. The flipping upside down shit. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to shout out the old school virtual console, basically, older games that just got re-released with bonus materials. I feel like there's like artwork. I think you mentioned that, but it's like, yeah, there'd be like cool supplemental shit added too. Or like I think some of them even had like mini documentaries, like going to the Sega studios and like interviews, people talking about the art style, art direction, all that kind of shit was just packed onto this disc. It was really cool.
Yeah, so that's more like the one that I wanted to shout out. Maybe like my favorite sort of, like if we're ranking the packaged re-release stuff, Midway Arcade Treasures 2. It was the only one we owned, but in retrospect, because after watching that video too, I was like, oh, I wonder what's on the other, because there was 3 Midway Arcade Treasures total. The third one is just racing games, and then the first one is like basically Midway Arcade Treasures 2. It has a lot of the sequels to the games that was on the first one, kind of naturally. It's like, okay, no, I think we got the best one, because like a lot of the sequels are the better ones. Like Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 are on the second one. Rampage World Tour, infinitely better than the first Rampage.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
The only ones that the first one had that weren't on the second one that I would have liked was Joust and Paperboy. Oh, and Root Beer Tapper too.
What is this game called? Xenophobe?
Yeah, it's not. It's an actual alien.
No, I know. It's just
that
saying.
That one was
slurs.
very neat. Yeah. But yeah, 20 games. I was a huge like arcade nut, even though we just didn't have them around here. So I was like, fuck yeah, like arcade games. Yes, I'm getting that. It had Primal Rage and Hard Drivin', which were both at the Rollerama.
Oh yeah, and I remember Primal Rage.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah. I loved having those, like, because that was like one of my favorite things about going to Rollerama. It's like there's arcade games there.
Yeah.
Although I will say Hard Driving doesn't kind of pack the same punch if you're not sitting down in the thing with the wheel, and because it's not that good of a game.
I always liked Joust. I was a big fan of Joust.
So that was on the first one, but so that's one that I missed out on. there's a game, and I'm looking at these and I'm like, yeah, a lot of these, except for like there's a couple sports ones, there's a couple racing ones. We played some of the racing ones, but most of these I'm like, yeah, I put time into APB, Gauntlet 2, Cosmic Cruiser, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, Narc, I know I beat a few times. Primal Rage, Rampage, I think we beat, but I also think maybe that's just like you play it infinitely because, dude, I remember trying to play through that with, I think, Sarah and Isaiah and me. And we played for like a whole fucking day. And I don't remember if we beat it. It's ridiculous how long that game goes for. Total Carnage might have been my favorite one though. It's a multi-stick shooter, so it's like you use your left stick moves you, and the right stick shoots in every direction. And that's like the only thing you use. You have 2 sticks, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
And like the main bad guy is like Nazi stand-in. And I'm pretty sure the final fight is like him. He's like a giant head that like floats around the screen, and then as you like damage him, his like face starts like falling off or whatever, and then like underneath it's revealed it's Hitler. Then you fight a giant disembodied Hitler head.
God,
it's awesome. I'd watch a playthrough of Total Carnage again. And then also
that's
like
so funny.
All of these games, you'd like go to them and you could do play or like bonus content, and there'd be like storyboards, behind the scenes, like footage. I remember for Mortal Kombat in particular, there was stuff like with Ed Boon, like one of the creators, and like how they like animated it, and there's just so much extra content. And I think we got it for like $20. It's like, yeah, it's nuts. You're not gonna get that much shit on like for that price anymore.
Yeah,
all that bonus, and I consumed all of it, of course.
There was one sports game that we played. It's called MLB Slugfest, and so like you got your standard sports games, but in Slugfest, you could beat the shit out of each other if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that game.
So that's all we did. Like,
that was the one. That's right.
Like we'd hit the ball, and I'd hit the ball to the outfield, but instead of like going to get the ball, I would just run into the infield and just try to beat the shit out of whoever I could before someone grabbed the ball and like triggered the cutscene to like the next at bat. Like we wouldn't even play baseball. Awesome. We would just try to find any reason to like go through the game and just beat the shit out of each other.
Nice.
Or like intentionally beaning the batter, and he'd get pissed and he'd have like fire around his wrists and ankles, and that meant he's charged up.
I definitely like remember that game being a thing. I don't remember if I ever played that. That's awesome. That's like when this also jumped back to the N64, but same thing as what we had a NASCAR 99. I don't think I ever really played that game like for real. We would always the races start ding, 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 the flag, and instantly reverse and turn around and just crash into as many cars as we could. And I always played as Dale Earnhardt, so like in retrospect, that's kind of messed up.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I remember a friend had Driver for the PC, and that's all we would do was just drive around and try to hit civilians and like just cause as much chaos as humanly possible.
Maybe that's why I don't like people. I wonder if like acting like that in games like when you're younger is why I don't really resonate with people who play. I'm trying to think of like a game that takes it more seriously. I guess like The Last of Us, but maybe that's a little different. But like I'm trying to differentiate it from like it's people like moms who don't actually play video games being like, oh, these are turning our kids into violent people. But when people play games, they're like, oh, that one's like really hard to play because you kill a lot of people in it. But I'm so desensitized to that shit because I'm like, yeah, but like it did in NASCAR all the time.
Yeah.
Or like, that's what I'm thinking of. There's Spec Ops: The Line. Do you know that game?
I know it by name.
It's like your generic military shooter, but it gets very heady at the end. Like it's praised a lot for its story. People absolutely love it, and it plays into a lot of like, oh, you PTSD because you kill, and then it's like, yeah, but you killed these people, and it like flashes back to like the levels that you just did or whatever, and it's like it's trying to make like you the player are a murderer type. It tries to do that, but I'm like that. That game totally fell flat for me because I'm just like, it's a video game, dude. Calm down.
Yeah. And I feel like was that a GameCube game or what was that for?
I played it on PC. I think it was
okay.
Xbox 360 era, PS3.
Oh, okay. So I guess games were sort of kind of in that prestige,
advancing into like, this is like a post BioShock world that this game came out in, I think.
Yeah.
BioShock was like, that's like the Mad Men or the Sopranos for video games, where it's like we can take ourselves seriously now.
yeah, that's true. You know, like you said, headier, ideas. Ayn Randian ideas. Was that the first one or was that Infinite? Was that because his name's like Andrew Ryan?
Yeah, that's the first one. Infinite's more just it's not like philosophical like that. It's more just like head trippy, like whoa. Yeah. And I know this is so cliche now, but like multiverse stuff. It was really cool at the time. Infinite's my favorite of them, and I think the ending's pretty cool.
I never finished that one.
Like any of them, or just the last one?
I got pretty far in BioShock Infinite, but
okay.
I got to a part. I think I might have told you about this before. It was like one of the big. It was like a big fight, and it was one where you were like kind of in the sky, and you had to use like that thing to like zip line around.
Yeah, it's like grappling hook thing. Yeah, that thing's really cool.
But what happened was, I spent like an hour trying to find this last guy, and he spawned in at an inaccessible area to me. So I'm trying to find this dude. All the while, the AI in the game, the dude is like shit talking me the entire time.
That's awesome.
And I just like, and eventually I Googled it because I was like, what is going on? And like the first YouTube video was like, this can happen. Sometimes a guy will spawn inside this building that you can't get into, and there's like nothing you can really do about it. I was like, God damn it. And then it was like, if I like reset, it was like 45 minutes of gameplay that I would have to like go back to get to this point again. And then I don't know, I never returned to it. But I mean, I got decently far, and like I really enjoyed it. I think the thing I remember the most is like the little flying barbershop quartet doing God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, the like 1920s era covers that they have of songs in that one are so good.
Yeah.
That I had a similar experience with Borderlands, which I love. I put hundreds of hours into OG Borderlands, and it was with my main character, my original character, my OG, was the hunter, and we'd 100%ed the entire main game, and then we got to the DLC, and there's like 5 different DLC, and we only got to the one DLC, but it was the biggest one, and I think we had finished the main story of that DLC, but then there was some side quests, and one of them was basically a what do you call it? Like survival mode, essentially, where it's basically just like you're in an arena, and it's like Coliseum style fighting, and it's like you and your team has to just go up against like wave after wave of enemies, and it's like the last wave of enemies, and this dude, it's like the same thing, he like spawns under the level, and I did it a few times, and it also is like probably a half hour of gameplay to get to it, and I tried it a few times, and then I just stopped, and then I never went back to that game. And it wasn't like out of anger or anything, it's just like, it's one of those things where like, oh, I can't do it, and then I'm like, it just kind of stops you, you know?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like, there's
yeah.
plenty of other things for me to do in that game at that point. I could have went off and done some of the other DLC, but I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking about the prestige games too, I wonder if that's another kind of thing that like sequesters the GameCube, this earlier era, away from that. Like before games started really taking themselves seriously, you know.
Yeah.
I would say maybe PS2 they had a handful that were, but like the GameCube was just so innocent, you know.
Yeah. And also like the discs were small and there was limited storage space. So like full voice acting and motion capture wasn't really a thing that you could do.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like animated cutscenes for sure, but like you know,
yeah.
but also like that was Nintendo's like first party stuff. That's not really the vibe.
Right, yeah. Like
that's not really like their bag. Like, you know, you got some like external storytelling in Metroid Prime, but it was like you had to scan the computers and scan everything and read.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess there was a voice acting for that, right? For your scanning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the very limited.
Yeah. I was gonna say they still don't, but I guess there's voice acting in Breath of the Wild, and then I guess there's actually a decent amount of voice acting in Metroid Dread too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, none from Samus makes noises, but there's like other sort of characters. Not a ton, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of. If I was feeling like doing that much research, I could have done like percentage of like how many of those releases were sports games, how many were those like movie tie-ins, and I wondered watching that, like do they still do? I mean, not that there aren't like licensed IP like releases nowadays, of course, but like the ones where it's just like, oh, there's a new Pixar movie, there's gotta be a GameCube and Game Boy and DS and PlayStation. Like, you gotta release it on every platform. And they would do those things where it's like, you know, you have Robots was one I remembered on the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance, but like they're like totally different games. It's just with these characters from a movie.
Yeah, I feel like we're sort of beyond that point now where like it was probably pretty profitable to like have those games tie in now, but it's like I feel like now it would be the equivalent of that is like a Fortnite skin.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, some of the games back there, we have like it's called like Shrek Super Party. It was like a Mario
Super
Party
Slam?
knockoff. What's that?
Is it Shrek Super Slam?
No, they just call it Shrek Super Party.
Okay.
And it's like Mario Party style game.
Okay. We had one that was Monsters Inc. It was Monsters Inc. Scream Factory or something, and it was like all like part. There wasn't a story to it. It was like,
you know what? Some GameCube games are at my parents' house, and the Billy Hatcher's at my parents' house, and the Monsters Inc. one is. I can see it now. Yeah,
Scream Arena or whatever. It's
That's
like
yes,
dodgeball basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that one now.
Yeah. We had a handful of those that mostly, like, those were the ones that Sarah got, I think. Right. Like, because they would they would like get me and Travis a game for like Christmas or something, and then they would just get Sarah one, but she wasn't as big into it. So we had like a Rugrats game.
Yeah.
We had the Incredibles, which I mentioned before.
Yep.
And most of those ones that would try, like the Rugrats and Incredibles one, both tried to do like, you know, like they had like a main story mode, and I played through them, but I feel like in retrospect, those are like some of the ugliest fucking games ever.
That's
Any of those
okay.
ones.
So I was watching that video that you sent me, and that's like a thing that I noticed. A lot of the third-party games looked so empty.
Empty. Yeah.
But it's like ugly too, but like mostly it would be like there would be like a line of coins that you were supposed, like whatever the collectible was in the game.
Sure.
You had to like, oh, there's all the collectibles, better run that way. And then there's like bad guys that you punch and kick. They all just seemed very bare bones. Like, you know, I mean, they're just tie-ins to movie. It's like, we want to make extra money off of this movie, so people are going to buy this because their kids like this movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, compare that with like literally any of like Nintendo's like first party, you know, they developed games. It's almost like it's a different console. Like you look at the environments of like, you know, Metroid Prime or Metroid Prime 2 or like even Resident Evil 4. Like all those games feel big. Like I there's something about them, but it's just like, yeah, a lot of these other games, it's just like kind of ugly, stretched out textures on polygons.
Yeah.
And like a few generic bad guys and then collectibles and like some light platforming.
Yeah.
They're just ugly and just empty.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like kind of crazy thinking of those being like the same console. And yeah, I think that's what, I wonder if those are the ones that like got focused on a lot of, because like the GameCube always got shat on because of like its lower
it's
graphics.
for babies.
Like, sure. And yeah, because of that. But I think it's just because they did like, I don't know, PS2 also had a shitload of those tie-ins too. I think PS2 was the one that, is the PS2 the one that had like, has like the most game releases for like any console, or is that the first PlayStation?
I could see it being PS2 just for like sports games and like DDR games. Did the PS2 have like the microphone camera peripherals, or was that like Xbox Kinect?
That might have been.
I swear, I think the PS4 had something along those lines too for like the Just Dance games. I feel like I read somewhere that like the last Wii game was released way later than you'd actually think. Like I feel like there was like a DDR or Just Dance Wii game that was released in like 2019.
Let me see. I have a. I know that happened with like the DS for sure. The last GameCube game on here.
I think it was like Madden.
Yeah, in 2007.
Although I think from what I
August
read,
2007.
Nintendo had stopped making games in like 6 months prior.
Oh,
like was Twilight Princess the last Nintendo released GameCube game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yep, December 11th, 2006.
That is funny that like they sort of use Zelda to pass the torch.
Yeah, because they did it with Skyward Sword.
Yeah, but then Breath of the Wild was the last
Breath of the Wild too. Yeah, right.
Wii U game, and then it was on the Switch too. It was like a launch title.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah. That was the last Wii U game that I bought.
Guess how many PlayStation 2 games there are, according to Wikipedia. This is Japan, Europe, and North America.
900. Higher?
Yeah.
1,200.
I'll give you one more guess.
1,700?
There is 4,376. According to Wikipedia. It's
my God.
The list of games is 2 separate pages on Wikipedia.
Oh.
I'm glad I didn't have to watch a 8-hour video that had all the
holy
PlayStation
shit
2 games.
But that's like the percentage of like good stuff to just like
I know
gutter trash.
Yeah.
Because when I think
Christ.
PS2, I think like Final Fantasy games and like sequels to like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, but it's just like what else is there?
Yeah, what were like the big hits on the PlayStation 2? I know they had Shadow of the Colossus. That was like the one that I was like, I want a PlayStation 2 for that game.
I feel like there were some like horror. Oh, you know what? PS2 had like horror games. Silent Hill 2.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
What was the other one? Fatal Frame, I think, was a really big one. That was like that Japanese photography ghost game.
Yeah.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that was like
Oh yeah. Yep.
massive.
Yep. Yeah. PlayStation is the system that I am like the least connected to out of like any, because we got the Xbox when it came out. We never had, when I pre GameCube, we just had we had an NES, but we got rid of it before I remember. So we had the Genesis and the N64. So I've been a Nintendo boy like through and through.
Yeah, I'm only really nostalgic for the PS1, and that was basically Spyro, Crash, Gex, Croc.
Yeah.
And then Chocobo Racing was like the only Final Fantasy game I ever played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do love, I mean, I like Final Fantasy because, mainly because like I would go to my friend's house and he had a Super Nintendo and I played Final Fantasy 2. That was what got me into it. And then I had a couple Game Boy titles and stuff. And then I've played like 7 and the big ones. But like the more modern ones, like I see like trailers for them and I'm just like, I don't know, it just doesn't really hold sway over me that much, that series.
I've heard that the PS2 ones are among the better ones. Like what is it like? I think 13 I've heard is really good.
I think that went up through 13 PS2. I could be wrong.
Whatever one had Titus.
I'm not sure. I know who you're talking about, but I'm not sure which one that was. That's oh man, you want some great like voice performing too. You should definitely play those early. They probably updated them now, but play those early Resident Evil games. Those got some great ass voice acting.
Oh yeah, I knew I know like the PS1 Resident Evil 1, like the big ones, like the master of unlocking.
Yeah,
or like the Jill sandwich.
Yeah, Jill sandwich. Yeah. My favorite was always Barry in OG. It's just the one that we always say is the "No, don't go. No, don't go." Okay, this is we're gonna say this is the end of part 1 because this is going long. We still got stuff to do. So whenever part 2 comes out, we're gonna cover our own personal top 10s as well as some other games we want to shout out. So that'll be out at some point. So if you don't want to be spoiled for next week's episode,
if you don't want to be spoiled movie, for 20-year-old games.
No, I mean, well, like whatever episode comes out after this where we're talking about some movie.
Oh yeah.
Watch it before next week's episode.
Yeah,
come
do
out
that
every
too.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. It feels weird doing it like this, but on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts and more in audio form. We also have socials on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So give us a follow or whatnot there. Engage on the YouTube. That's our hit platform as of now. And with all that out of the way, I am your Game Boy player. Wink,
wow, wink. Yeah.
TJ, aka Jay's Project, cheesing with me as always.
As always, I'm your Tingle Tuner.
Oh fuck, that's good.
Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
Okay. Bye. We'll still be here.
Yeah. We're not going anywhere, but you are.
Yeah.